come as well. You know what, Chef Robert? My dad was a Marine, just like you were a Marine.
Oh, okay.
So you can say, good morning.
Good morning.
And Semper Fi.
Semper Fi. And when we have 236 years.
Yeah, that's right. A belated happy birthday. Good. All right, so we're making a stuffing the buzzers. We already addressed that they love bacon. And you brought something close, pancetta.
Pancetta, yes.
Is a key ingredient here. What else are we putting in there?
Okay, this is what's called mirepoix, mise-en-poix, whatever you want. Actually, the onion, the carrot, and the celery. That's a standard for when you're baking anything.
Okay.
And then we have the pancetta that I've already crisped, but it takes a few minutes. But I want to save the oil because that's going to go into the stuffing. Chestnuts, we just do a rough chop of chestnuts.
You know, I looked at that and I thought it was mushrooms.
Yeah, parsley, and then we have the garlic, salt, and pepper, the Romano cheese, the butter, the pancetta, or the ciabatta bread, the egg, and the rosemary.
Okay.
We're going to put all this together. Now, when you're doing something like this, you're going to say, all this for stuffing, why not just go to the store, get the bag, add the water, and
Bite
be happy
your tongue.
in 5 minutes. And this takes a lot of prep. I guess the secret to success is in your prep. So don't be afraid to sit down the night before, make a list of what you're going to do and the recipes, and then go ahead and do this and put it in the refrigerator. And the next morning when you get up to tackle what you're going to do, 90% of it's already done for you. So it's a good idea to get started. I've already heated the oil, and I'm going to go ahead and put that right into the mixture of the mise-en-poix.
And that was, you said, that was basically
celery,
the drippings from the pancetta.
Dripping from the pancetta. I'm going to keep away from the salt because that pancetta today is really salty for some reason. So and that's good. I'll add the chestnuts, the pancetta back in here again.
Now the chestnuts, how did you prep those? Because I think folks see them, you know, in the bag, in the shell.
Buy them in the jar, already cooked.
In a jar.
Already cooked. Some of your bigger stores, Harris Teeter, all those have them on the shelf.
Okay.
Okay, then you go ahead and put your Romano cheese in. Not a lot, just enough. The garlic.
Now, Chef Robert, of course, is doing this all from experience, but we will put measurements and the ingredients and the technique at thehamptonroadshow.com.
Yeah, and I'll put all this together. Does that look good already?
Yeah, but it is still basically a bread stuffing. I don't want folks to think it's not.
The best bread is to use the ciabatta. Why? Because it has the air holes in it, and it's going to absorb all this moisture that we're doing.
Okay. And it'll shrink down a little bit,
It'll shrink down after I put this on.
So add a little bit of butter in there.
A little bit of butter so it doesn't stick to the bottom of the pan and wind up having toast. You know, you don't want to have that.
No, not on Thanksgiving anyway. Although I think the Charlie Brown gang did that. Didn't they have toast and popcorn on the ping pong?
And then you put your rosemary together. Once all this is completed, I have a glass baking dish over there that I've already buttered.
Okay.
This will go into the baking dish after I combine it all together. 350 for about 30 minutes. Just take it out and put it on the table, and it's really great. It's really good.
So you don't cook your stuffing inside the turkey?
You can if you'd like, but then when you do that, make sure your stuffing is cold. Don't put hot stuffing into a cold turkey. It'll sour.
I didn't know that.
Yes.
That's why I asked you. All right,
sour,
but you don't. You just cook it in the pan, and serve it separately.
It's better that way.
Okay.
It's better that way. It tastes a lot better because then all the moisture and juice in the turkey is going to overpower whatever you're doing here.
Okay.
So you don't want to do that.
I got you.
But you don't want to do it.
Now, where did this recipe come from?
It's my uncle's.
Oh, boy.
From you know where.
From Italy.
You know,
is there a story coming?
Yes, because I asked him, I says, how did you meet your wife? I mean, what made you go and marry her? She said, she was the right one. He said, what I didn't know that her first name was Always.
Always right.
There
I got
you go.
that. What's the matter with that? I don't see what's wrong with that, Chef Robert. All right, we're going to come back. We'll put the finishing touches on the stuffing. We'll move along to dessert right now. Meteorologist Jeremy Wheeler has followed the smell of pancetta into this. Oh my gosh, it looks so good, and it's not even finished yet.
Not yet. Now it's got to go in the oven for about 30 minutes. So
okay.
To give it a nice golden color and take up some of the moisture in there.
You combined it all in the big pot on the stove and then spread it evenly in this pan.
Spread it evenly.
This is buttered, right, or sprayed?
Buttered, yes.
Buttered. Okay. All right, I'm going to go ahead and put it in the oven for you, and I know that you are also going to make us a pumpkin pie. But before we start with that, we had a question from one of our buzzers who had a question about your recipe last week. You made a pumpkin cheesecake, and she wants to know if that recipe called for 3 pounds of cream cheese or 3 of the 8-ounce blocks.
3 pounds.
3 pounds.
3 pounds of cream cheese.
All right, there you go.
And you know, it's going to make 16 pieces, so and that pan is really deep, so it's really nice. You know.
Yep.
What I've done here now, all your ingredients is your half and half. Your cinnamon, your eggs, your pumpkin. Standard Libby's is fine. Vanilla, sugar, and butter. And inside I've put in You can either put Philadelphia brand cream cheese or you can put mascarpone. Which one would I put? What's Italian? Come on.
Mascarpone.
Mascarpone. There you go. So we'll start by getting that moving in together.
Now, can I ask a question about the pumpkin?
Mm-hmm.
It's not like you can stop me, but I have a question about the pumpkin, if you don't mind. Sometimes you see the can that says canned pumpkin, and sometimes you see canned pie filling.
Yes.
What's the difference? In
pie
which one would you
filling's got
use?
all this in it already. So all you do is take it out of the can and put it in.
Okay.
What I don't like about that is, on my recipe that I gave you the option of putting ginger or cinnamon, whatever you like.
Okay.
Now, why would you put ginger in a pumpkin cheesecake? It's not a ginger pumpkin. It's a pumpkin. I mean, you can put it in if you want. I'm not telling you what not to do.
Right.
I wouldn't do it. But
Okay. I didn't know if there was a difference in the texture or how much moisture was in one kind of pumpkin or another.
No, it's
Okay.
just
It's got the pie filling is seasoned like a pumpkin pie,
it's all ready to go.
like a very generic
just
pumpkin
like
pie.
stuffing in a bag.
Like stuffing in a bag. All right, don't judge. Don't judge that packaged food. I know we can't all be gourmet chefs like you, but we
No, it's
appreciate
not.
you
This is just learning,
sharing your secrets there.
Putting
so
the
what,
eggs in.
what then, Chef Robert, makes this an Italian cheesecake,
Mascarpone.
an Italian pie? Oh, the mascarpone.
Mascarpone.
cheese?
Yeah.
Okay.
Now,
It qualifies.
Paula Dean has almost the same thing. One of these days, her and I, that's one of my goals is to cook with her, not against her, because she'll kill me, but working with her. I mean, she is really good.
It's almost happening today because we're interviewing Paula Dean on the show today.
Did you mention my name?
I will.
Okay.
I will.
Tell her I'm here
I'll do
waiting
that.
to cook beside her and her two sons.
It's coming up in a few minutes. She's actually up the road in Williamsburg. She's going to join us through the magic of television a little bit.
Good. She's a down-to-earth woman who can cook and loves what she does, and you can see it in everything she does.
You know what? We say the same thing about you, except for the woman part. But we always say that you're very down to earth, and we can tell that you love cooking.
Now this is, it says half a stick of butter. I don't know. What do you
That
think?
looked like a little more.
that's
It looks
good.
like you're channeling Paula Dean at this very moment, putting all the butter you can find in the studio in that bowl.
It gives it the flavor. I mean, it really makes it. And then the sugar, sugar to taste. I wouldn't put, a full cup. I'd maybe put a half a cup, and you can see how it's blending. And that's what you want.
I can. All right,
You can
listen.
smell it. Nice.
We're going to talk crust and how to bake that thing when we come
Okay.
back in just
Yes.
a little bit. But if we're going to stay on time, we've got to move along. Over. All right, it is almost time to talk about our perfect wine today. We're going to bring Joshua Ha in from the Sheraton Waterside in just a second. But first, we want to put the last tips for the pumpkin pie. We saw how you make the filling.
Yes.
And then what do you use for a crust?
We make our own crust, but what you can do is buy them in a store. They're just as good.
Okay.
But when you get it, make sure you hit it with a fork first, and then put it in the oven for about maybe 2 minutes, just to give it that blanching.
Without the filling in it?
Without the filling. And the
Okay.
reason why I say that is sometimes they're pressed too thin, and when you put the liquid in, it comes out and goes right through the bottom. So if you give it a little touch before you go ahead and finish cooking, then you put it in the oven for maybe 20, 30 minutes. You'll see the nice pieces of butter in there. That's going to all melt and give it a nice golden color on top. I filled it to the top, so this way here, when you do bake it, it's going to sink, but it won't be a hole in it. It'll be nice and even.
Okay.
Here's the finished product on this,
That
on the
looks
stuffing.
beautiful. Yep.
It's ready to go, and this is all going to be at Thanksgiving at our hotel, so you might want to give us a shot, come over and see us. Now, I was watching, throughout the whole show, I know you had a Marine Corps upbringing, because 7 times, I wasn't counting, but 7 times you looked in the mirror to make sure you looked good before you went out. And that you must have really dazzled them in the Navy,
I don't
because
know,
with the
my-
Marine Corps background, you had to probably blow them away.
Well, I don't know. My mom was quite a dazzler in her day. A couple of pageants are in her background, too, so I may have gotten that from her as well.
Your dad have something to do with that?
Yeah.
Okay.
He also picked Miss Wright. Right.
There it is, always, right?
All right, let's bring in Josh Ha now. A challenge for you today. You got to have the perfect pairing for dessert and, Thanksgiving dinner. Ashley in the Buzz just wanted to say thank you. She said she follows your advice every week. But another person was saying, they've got picky drinkers coming, and they want to know if there's a safe wine, a neutral wine, a wine that everybody will like.
That's true. That's true. And that's what I wanted to cover today, because that was always my question. Is
Yeah.
what do you do for Thanksgiving dinner? Because there's so much
It's a
on
lot
the
of people,
table.
right.
There's so much on your plate, and what can go well with everything. So I sort of narrowed it down to 3, which was tough because there's so many good ones out there that will go well on the table. But the first one I picked was a German semi-dry Riesling, which is the Weingart Giel Riesling Cabernet. And I think it just, like I said, it covers a spectrum on the table. In addition, friends of mine in Napa Valley, California, The Linardini family make Whitehall Lane Sauvignon Blanc, which also is going to go very well on that table. And to finish it up, I picked a Madeira, cinnamon Madeira, from the island of Madeira, owned by Portugal, of course, in the Atlantic Ocean.
That's right. I was stationed there. I was
Oh,
stationed
were
in
you?
the Azores,
Nice.
Portugal, when I was in the Navy, up on the island of Terceira. But I remember Madeira as well, another one, big
Yeah,
island.
beautiful island.
Smells good.
And if you go with the Madeira, don't go with the cheap locally or domestically produced Madeira. Get it from the island of Madeira.
All right, get it from Portugal.
And perfect pairing with a pumpkin pie. You
Okay.
can't find a better one. So.
I noticed that you did not bring a red today, so for Thanksgiving you really want to go with white because it's turkey?
I do. If you go with the red, go with a Pinot Noir.
Okay.
Yeah,
if you
that's your red option. But these are going to cover your spectrum pretty well. So.
All right. Well, happy Thanksgiving to you
Yes,
and your
you too.
family.
Thank
happy
you.
Thanksgiving
You too.
to you and your family as well. And you got to talk to Paula Dean today.
Yes, yes.
Hooray. All right.
I hope she has an Italian at her table someday.
I'm sure she will.
Just bring some bacon. You're good to go.
All right. Cheryl's with our studio audience.
I am, and